Well, good evening. How's everybody?
Good. You preparing to work at the mall to get some pictures?
Oh yeah, I got several Santa Claus gigs start this weekend.
It looks good. The beard looks good.
Yeah, I'm having to start earlier and earlier every year. Santa Claus is getting earlier and earlier. We just go straight from Labor Day to Christmas now. We don't even slow down for Halloween or Thanksgiving. We just go straight into Christmas. So I'm just gonna have to start wearing this thing year round, I guess. I shed like a goat. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've got anything going on in Rutherford County, right? Well, I've got one in Rutherford County. I'm in Lake Lure tonight. So, where are you at in Rutherford County, Philip? I know you're at East Rutherford, where you teach at East.
Yes, sir.
Where you live in Rutherford County?
Oh, well, I've actually live in Cleveland County. I live over in Double Shoals.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you you go to the poor side of town to work every day over to East Rutherford.
Yeah, I just tell everybody cut to the country.
Mm-hmm. Now let's see. Now Annie's over there. McIntyre.
Yeah, she's in our science department.
Yep. Annie just got through. She was with us. Me and Dr. Laws there in the center of the screen. She was with us. She's getting her doctorate in EDCI, and Dr. Laws and I do a 12-hour block for those ladies at the end of their regular classwork. And so we had Annie this time, and we really enjoyed that. And of course, Priscilla, who's your AP, she interned at Chase.
Yes, sir.
And so she's been through, and of course, Tim and Jim, the Torbenin brothers, they played football for us at Central.
Yes, sir.
And so it's old home week. My wife will be here in a few minutes. She's an East Rutherford graduate. So I taught at Central for the old Central. I still call it the new one. I didn't realize the new Central's been open for 32 years?
Yeah.
I taught on the hilltop at the old one. I don't know what they're going to do with that building now. But yeah, I taught there back in I guess I was there in the early 80s. I think I left there about 85 maybe. But yeah, I taught there for 5 or 6 years. 6 years, I believe. It's a good place. Good place.
Evening, Dale. How are you?
I'm good, Rod. How are you? How are things in Rocky Mount?
They're here. We unfortunately make the news too often, and not on a good way.
Yeah.
So, how's it up there in the mountains? Or are you at the beach?
I'm at the mountains. I've got the Sunset Beach sign behind me, but I'm at the mountains. I'm at Lake Lure. I'm at Apple Valley.
Well, good. Yeah, last time we had our last meeting, I was at the beach, and about 6:20, I told my wife, I said, "I got a meeting." You have one of these quick. I ain't never heard you have a quick meeting like that. You had.
Well,
I know. I looked at the recording and wasn't much.
Wasn't much. No, not much.
Yeah.
We'll meet next week and try to get ready for the end of things here. We'll talk about graduation. I hate that we're doing the 9 o'clock for the college, and then we'll process out at 10:30, and then we don't come back in the same place till 1, and we've got more than everybody else. I don't know why we can't stay, but
yeah,
we got a 2.5 hour gap in between. But the doctorals, they'll get hooded at the 9 o'clock ceremony, but all of our master's people and certificate folks get recognized at the 1 o'clock. They get their hoods at the 1 o'clock ceremony. The master's people do. So
Well,
we'll have to talk about that a little bit. And
you talk about politics.
we got, I don't know how many folks are going to come. We've got about 130. So I hope most everybody will come. I'll put the plug in. It should be a good time. And it never fails. At least one person says to me when they see me live and in person is, we didn't think you were that tall. I think what they really mean is we didn't think you were that big around.
Okay.
But they always say, I didn't think you were that tall. So if you get to come and see how big and tall I am.
Love you, bye.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
I have
think
to
other
remind people that I am sitting down while I do these, so I don't look
Yeah,
as tall
yeah.
on video. But yeah, looking forward to that. Hope everybody can come to
Well,
that.
Good. Well, I hear other people coming on, so I'm gonna get
Yeah,
quiet.
we got some folks coming in, and I see one of mine from Wednesday night. I see Tanya's with us, and I see one of our Sarahs. We had 3 Sarahs in our Tuesday night group this time, and so I see Sarah Martin's with us. She's one of our EDCI ladies, and there's her mistress. There's Dr. Putnam. She's with us tonight. And so I'm gonna give us another minute here. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome to our last town hall of the season. This is for all of our legacy students. As we kick off tonight, I'm gonna do a quick pitch for our 3 doctoral programs. We have 2 of our coordinators with us tonight. Our 3rd coordinator actually has another meeting tonight, so I'm going to stand in for him. So we have 3 doctoral programs. I am recording this, and so we'll send this out, but we are doing one last push. If you're interested in a doctoral program in the spring, or if you're going to wait till the fall, some of you who are not finishing until the spring or the summer, we are starting our recruitment for those as well. So we have 3 separate and distinct doctoral programs. We have an EDCI program that's curriculum and instruction. Dr. Jennifer Putnam is program coordinator and associate dean. She's with us tonight. We have the doctorate in educational leadership that is headed by Dr. Steve Laws. He's the program coordinator. He's with us tonight. And then we have a 3rd doctoral program for those of you who might be thinking about moving out of K-12 and into city county government or small college or community college. We have a Doctor of Organizational Leadership that is a leadership program. It does not lead to any kind of licensure, but it does lead to jobs in small colleges and city county government. We do have that. We have about 60 in that doctoral program. And so that program is a little different than the other 2. It's three years of full-time coursework. You do your dissertation and practice along with your coursework and try to finish in the 3-year time frame. So there's 9 semesters of classes. It is 7 times 9, 63. It is 63 credit hours. I'm guessing that at the per hour charge, I'm guessing it's right around $35,000. It is low residency. It meets in Charlotte. On the weekends vary according to the semester, anywhere from 1 to 3 weekends per semester. You have class on Saturday and Sunday. The other times you have class during either during the week.
I just
or
sent it to
on the
your
weekend.
school email.
So let me. All right, you mute everybody. So if you're interested, Dr. Hamilton, or you can get in touch with me and I can get it to him, but he's Jay Hamilton too. He's the program coordinator of that doctoral program. At this time, I'll go to Dr. Jennifer Putnam and let her give you a overview of the doctorate in curriculum and instruction. Dr. Putnam, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here tonight. So our doctorate in curriculum instruction program is 2 years of coursework. And then after the coursework is over, then you begin your dissertation. both the EDCI and the EDLS program that Dr. Laws will talk to you about, we have built-in support all along the way, starting with your very first semester, where we will be helping you. You will be assigned a dissertation coach, and you will be working on your dissertation all the way through your program. And this is a big difference from other programs across really across the world, in that in a lot of programs, what you do is you do your 2 years of coursework, and then they kind of kick you out and say, okay, go write a dissertation and figure out how to do it. In our programs, both Dr. Laws's program and my program, we support you all along the way, so that by the time you're finished with your 2 years, that you should be very close to having a solid 3 chapters of your dissertation written. And a dissertation is only 5 chapters, so you're about 60% finished. If you can get that, not everybody gets that, but they do have a solid, good solid start on those chapters. The curriculum instruction program, we have a good mix of people in our program. We have people who would like to work at the university setting. We have people who aspire to have curriculum instruction positions in the public schools or in charter schools. We have a lot of principals and assistant principals in our program who want to round out their curriculum and instruction expertise. We have people who move on in the same way to the community college. We also get community college people into our program. We have people who also want to work for companies writing curriculum. And the evidences that we do each semester are bound within the school, so that it's nothing, there's nothing way out there. Everything that you do is meant to help your site or your district. And your leadership grows throughout the process, because it just has to, because you have to lead others in order to get every single evidence done. One of the things that we are really excited about, we support this in EDCI, as does Dr. Laws and EDLS, that we have built into the program. Every semester, we send out a call for assessors. We start with assessors in coursework. And what that means is that in some ways, you're kind of like a teacher assistant in an undergraduate program classroom, and these are online classes. But what that allows you to do is to start co-teaching with another full-time professor or another adjunct, and getting some experience working with adults and teaching, and then that builds your resume. So if you are really interested in moving into higher education, this builds your CV as you are moving along. And then a lot of times people will be an assessor for a semester, and then be an official co-teacher for a semester, and then become an adjunct for a semester or longer. So it's a good building and a lot of good experience. So I know soon to be Dr. Morton is on the thing, so you can all ask her all kinds of questions, because she just finished the 2 years of coursework. But I'll turn it over to Dr. Laws now.
Hey, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday, and it's already smelling good in my house. And so I hope you're going to have a great day tomorrow and a great weekend ahead. So I'm with the EDLS program, the Ed Leadership Doctorate. And in our program, it's Dr. Putnam, they mirror each other in length and what we try to do in coaching our candidates to at least be ready to propose at the end of coursework. So we do the hand-in-hand stuff. There are 2 or 3 names on here, I think, that are familiar to me that are in our program now. I think Anna is already in her 730, and I think Anera is in 730, and maybe Tracy. She's been blessed not to have to see me. But at any rate, we have a good time, and I hope you will consider it. I'm going to tell this little tidbit. It's going to sound like I'm a salesperson, so please forgive me. I don't mean to sound like a salesperson. Yesterday, I went to visit one of my coachees who was in my 7:30 class. And as soon as I sat down in his office, he's a principal, sat down in his office, he looked at me and he said, well, I'm proud of Rebecca. She's graduating in December. And then he looked and he said, and I wish I'd have listened to you, because I recruited them simultaneously and he decided to wait. And so he thankfully started his doctorate this semester. He said, if I'd listened to you and started when you told me I ought to start, I would be through right now. So my only line to all of you is, if you think you want your doctorate, it could be that now is the time. And spring starts are really cool because the coursework ends in December, and it makes for a really good Christmas. So I just want to encourage you to think about Dr. Putnam's program or my program in EDLS or the DEOL if you're interested in that. Some of you are already in it. We're thankful for that. But all of you, if you have any interest at all, I know Dr. Putnam will do the same thing. We're going to put our email address up there. Please contact us, we'll put our cell phones too. And I know you'll be enjoying Thanksgiving. We'll be enjoying Thanksgiving tomorrow. But if you want to get a hold of us this weekend, we are on some time crunch to begin in January. So if you think you might want to do it and want to hear more about our programs, I think all of you have received a handbook from me, but if you want to hear any more, I encourage you to get a hold of me, and the same with Dr. Putnam and Dr. Hamilton. And to you, Dr. Lamb, thank you for allowing us to be a part of this. I know they're in for a treat to do the interview stuff. Dr. Revis, I'll see you on Monday. And so we have a dissertation proposal defense on Monday. So to all of you, happy Thanksgiving. Let me put my thing in there and I'm going to shut up, Dale.
All right, I see Anna's on, and so we can have a time for rebuttal now. That Anna is here, but Anna, if you would unmute yourself. She just put in the chat that she loves the EDLS program. Anna and a few more. We had 8 actually that got a special dispensation, a special deal where we accelerated them since they were spring start. In the Mel's 3-semester program, we let them take 7:30 rather than 6:05, and they got to go in a semester early. For those of you who maybe, that's one of those things. And so, Anna, if you would tell us a little bit about your experience in the EDLS program.
Yeah, it's actually been really nice doing the 2 simultaneously. It was very overwhelming, just like I've told Dr. Laws several times, but we had to pace ourselves, and the first class was really good. I learned a lot about myself and about what I'm doing in education. My professor was Dr. Shaver, and she posed a lot of questions that made us think a lot about our why and about what we want to do and why we want to do it. But it's anybody that's interested in it. I always, anybody that's asked me about it, I tell them, go for it. You should definitely go for it. Like I said, I was one of the ones that went straight in. So I would recommend it. If you're given the opportunity, I would definitely go for it.
Thank you, Anna. And so I'll just kind of conclude with here are some benefits. I've been in Dr. Laws, Dr. Putnam. Dr. Putnam's not near as old as Dr. Laws and I. Actually, Dr. Laws went to school with my daddy, but that's another story for another day. But we've been in it a day or two, and I have never seen as many opportunities as there are now. A lot of retirements, a lot of people moving on. I'm telling you, I've never seen it. I get calls every week. Do you know somebody? We need somebody. They're looking for administrators. I mean, and those people are going to filter on up. And getting that doctorate is that union card. And so that's number one. Number two, if you've been through the MELS program,
So the EDCI program, definitely they guide you through everything that you need to do each semester. You have no question what you need to do. Like Dr. Putnam said, everything that I did each semester fell right into place with what was happening at my school. I was able to help with things at school through that. And of course, my administration at school is great about letting us do those things. So that was good. I do like the low residency because I actually look forward to weekends because I got to be with my cohorts. I got to listen to lectures, and we could ask questions in real time, which was great. But it was also just a really good time to get together. And we fellowshipped on Sunday mornings, and I just really enjoyed it. So I would recommend it if that's something you want to do.
Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate that. Again, Dr. Putnam and Law, thank you again for being with us. I get to work with both of these folks every day. They use many of the people that you already know. You know, it's like whole home week every week. You get to be with your cohort. It is, and I tell Dr. Laws all the time, it's easier to recruit for me to recruit for programs that I believe in, and I believe that these are quality programs. I believe that you get value from them. I think that you will enjoy your time, and it will be time and money well spent. So thank you again for that, and hopefully you'll get in touch with us if you're interested in a program. All right, we'll move on into our agenda for the evening. Let me share my screen and pull up our agenda for, let's see, is that the right one? It's not, of course it's not the right one. Here we go. So we've done our recruitment, and so I'll turn it over to Dr. Stedman.
Dr. Lamb, I've made a decision. My students at the end of your presentation, my students are to remain on there with Dr. Revis and me because everybody else does not need to hear all that. So we'll let you go first, and we'll hold on at the very end.
All right, so I'll go ahead and move into that. The only thing that I want before I jump into interviewing is I want to remind everybody, please be sure to apply for graduation. If you finish, you should have already done that for December graduation, but I'm talking to you folks who are going to finish in the spring now. There's a good many of you on. If you're going to finish in the spring, now is the time to apply for graduation. If you've not applied and you're finished in the fall, you need to email me and we'll see if we can get you in. But everybody should have already done that. But again, now is the time to apply for graduation in May. If you have not, if you're finishing, if you're in 604 now, you need, and we got several of those, you need to apply for graduation now. All right, so let's jump into interviewing.
Dr. Lamb, those many of them have your reflections too. They need to get the reflections to you if they're finishing this time.
Yes, if you would get me those. I'm doing a case study and I'm also interested in your feedback. I read every one of those and respond. So if you would do your reflection, I would really appreciate that. It helps us shape our program and the things that we do with you. All right, so let's look at interview. Now, we're most specifically talking about the first level job in school administration, which is the assistant principal. Now, in some districts, it might be a dean. Some private, some charters, and some larger districts have a dean of students before the AP, but it's that same first job that we're talking about. You're going to go through 4 different types of interviews. Now, there may be more than 4, but they're all going to fall into one of these 4 types. It is imperative that you know what type of interview that you're walking into. Now, I'm going to talk, when I finish the 4 types, I'll talk about some general rules for interviewing, and I've got some documents that I sent you in a zip file, and we'll talk about those generalities, but what's really important is you know specifically what kind of interview that you're walking into. So here are the 4 types. First is the applicant pool interview. That's when you're mostly large districts and they have an applicant pool that you have to get into before you can get into the interview process. It's kind of like a pre-activity prior to the actual, interviewing for a specific job. They have a pool, you get in the pool and then you interview for specific jobs. And they have a number of different things that they will do. What they're trying to do is weed out the looky-loos, the people who think that they might want to, that they're trying to determine who the serious candidates are at this level. After you get through with the applicant pool interview, then you will have a group interview. And this is with what we like to call civilians. There'll be a few school people, but there'll be a good many civilians in that interview as well. Like members of the community. If it's a secondary school, it may include a student. It'll definitely have teachers. And you say, well, teachers are in the business. Yeah, but they're civilians too. They're not school administrators. So you can have parents, you can have teachers, you can have community members, and you can have students in that interview. And the trick in that interview is speak to the audience that you have. You have to be careful about using acronyms and jargons. You have to be able to communicate with these folks. They're the outside, what we call the outside stakeholders. And then the third level is you will interview with the principal of the school that has the opening. This is where you get to use your acronyms and your jargon, and you'll get to do that kind of thing. And then the superintendent, and I probably spelled that wrong. It looks like TENDENT. I don't know. And this interview is not about how to schedule a third lunch shift or how to do bus stops or any of that. This is big picture stuff. And we'll talk about each of those. So let's dive into the first of those. So Strength Finder that you have in 605, they're looking for your dispositional behaviors. Gallup actually has a system of that they use. Not a lot of districts use that anymore, but the trick about the strengths or the Gallup type interview is they have landmine questions that they're looking to make sure that you know what that you're looking to change careers. You're changing careers from a teacher level person to a school administrator. Teachers work with kids, administrators work with adults. And so they'll ask you a question like, if it paid the same, would you prefer to work with students or adults, with teachers? And the answer, of course, is I would prefer to work with teachers. They'll ask questions like that to make sure that you know what you're getting into. They'll ask you if you're always on time. Obviously, school works on a clock. They'll ask you those kinds of questions, but they'll be looking for your dispositional type behaviors. I'm honest. I'm ethical. I'm responsible. These are my strengths. Those kinds of things. That usually is a straight question type thing where you're in a room, they give you a sheet, you answer it, or they have a person like from HR who just asks you a series of questions. But they're trying to look at your dispositional behaviors, what kind of person you are. So I have a document that talks to 5 dispositional behaviors to highlight during that time. Your emotional intelligence, is another way to say that dispositional behavior. So they're looking for your work ethic. I'm on time. I'm ethical. I'm hardworking. I'm dependable. I'm responsible. I'll show up, sober and clean clothes every day. I won't come in yesterday's clothes with a dozen bar stamps on my hand. I won't do like Barney did, the first year of the Andy Griffith show when Andy went to Raleigh. If you'll remember back, and they left Barney in charge, like being the AP. And the first thing he did was, deputize Otis to town drunk and gave Gomer a gun. That you won't do something crazy like that. That you are a responsible person. That's what they're trying to figure out in that first level dispositional, that strength finder. They're looking for a positive attitude. They're looking for your communication skills. They're looking for your time management. How many thousands of times have we talked about that? And they're looking for your self-confidence. Can you command the room? That's a big part of it. So that's one of the first types of interviews for applicant pools that you will have. The second type of applicant pool interview is the app sell. They will have you do a quick app sell where they will give you a data analysis performance task. Sometimes they'll just give it to you and say, here, and then you get 30 minutes and you come back and then they'll ask you some questions. And it's just an app sell. They'll give you a data set, and you'll look at the data set, figure the most pressing need, and come up with a quick action plan as to what you would do to address it, just like you did in the app sell. This is an actual one from a school district. They use this one. I won't tell you which district it is, but if you're somewhere in the Triad area, you may see this one. But they will give you data on school, and they'll tell you about it. And you'll come up with an action plan, just like you did for the app sell, the first evidence that you did. So that's the second kind of pool interview that they have. Let me close that one. Now, some of the more rural districts like to do reasoning activities. And what that is they're trying to see if you're a good thinker. And so what they'll do with that one, and what we've got for that one is the principles in basket activity. They'll give you scenarios, kind of like little mini case studies, and you'll have to come up with what you will do. And this one, you can tell it's an old one because, over 2 weeks' time, the principal only got 21 emails. I get that before breakfast every morning, and most school people do. But they're looking to see if you know what's important or how you would handle. I mean, there's some landmines in these, like a member of the media contacts you directly and wants to come over to your school and take pictures of kids, and talk to kids and talk to teachers. Obviously, if you've had 603, we don't do that. That's a FERPA violation. Privacy laws. We can't let media in our schools. Those kinds of things. And they want you to try to figure out, and put all of these, what would you do? But more importantly, to categorize all these emails as either urgent and important, not urgent, but important, urgent and not important, and not urgent, not important. Now, if you look at those, you begin to understand that you should never put anything in this quadrant, in quadrant 3. How could it be urgent if it's not important? Again, it's a kind of a reasoning activity. There could be things that are urgent and important. Yeah, we got to handle that. It's today, and it's very important. And some things are important, but we got a day or two on it. And then some things are not urgent, not important. That's like spam emails or that kind of stuff. We can disregard that. But the thing that there can't be such a thing as something that's urgent and not important. And so they'll give you something like this with scenarios. It's many case studies. You know the answers. We don't let media in the building. They're pretty easy, but they'll have you work and kind of reason through these. But the thing to remember is that nothing can be urgent but not important. That's the thing of that. And then the fourth of these, so I can close that The fourth of these is the virtual interview. A lot of districts are going to these, even coming out. They did a lot of this during COVID. They did some. I think a lot of districts are going to continue to do these where they do virtual interviews with you. Now, the trick with virtual interviews is they'll usually give you a little data set, or they'll ask you questions, and you have to answer questions from the little data set that they gave you. Here's the trick: get you a little sticky notepad, and write some key words and phrases. Don't write anything down that you have to look down and to answer. Take those stickies and put them around the edge, the border of your monitor, where they can't see them, where you can refer back to kind of take notes. Because if you take your eyes off the screen and don't look directly in the screen during a virtual interview, you will fail the interview. They're looking to see if you will make eye contact with them. Now, you've been on Zoom enough to know where to look. I mean, I wish that, but the sad part for me is I have to look at myself. That means that I'm looking at you. You can't look over across the room at the camera. You have to look, all the tricks of working virtually, but they're looking for body clues, body language. They're looking to see if you're going to be reading your notes. Those are the kinds of things. So I have a document in here. This is actually from a district in the Piedmont uses this is their current format. They'll ask you things like, what are your past experience? Talk about when you were under immense pressure. They'll ask you, do you believe all kids can learn? They'll give you, they had a view a video of a 9th grade English class and take notes. That's what I'm talking about. They'll give you a video, or they'll give you some data and have you take notes. Now, take notes on stickies and put them around your screen. Don't write them down and have to sit on a pad like I do, and then have to sit and read the pad. You'll fail the interview. But make sure you put them on stickies around your screen. Have you a sticky before you start? Write yourself your notes around that. They'll give you either a piece of data, or they'll give you a video, and you'll have to answer questions on that. This is getting more and more common, and you got to practice this. And so this is something I would recommend, that if you know that if you've got a virtual interview schedule, go over this list right here that gives you notes and outlines of what to expect, and practice. Practice making your presentation and answering questions back in the screen. Now, what makes this doubly hard is sometimes they'll have their camera turned off on their end, and that makes it really hard. But remember, you've got to engage and keep eye contact with the screen when you're doing virtual interviews. So those are the kind of applicant pool interviews that you will go through in districts that do that. But you need to know which one. As you can see, I've got you some documents. You can plan and prepare for these. These are actual real documents from districts. These are not something that I made up. I'm not smart enough to make stuff up. These are things that I got colleagues of mine from different districts to share with me, that they actually, every one of these is still in use somewhere in North Carolina. So, or some variation of these everywhere. So know what kind of interview it is, and then come back to this zip drive of documents that I gave you. And I can't stress enough, practice if you're going to do virtual interviews. All right, so those are the first four. That's the first set. That's the first type of interview. All right, the second type of interview that you will is the group interview. And this is where you can really harm yourself quickly. This type of interview, again, has stakeholders, civilians, and you can't, they don't know what MTSS means. And the worst thing you can do is say something like, well, I've been the MTSS coordinator, or through the MTSS process, and you say, oh, wait a minute, you don't know what that means. Ooh, not only, now you've called them stupid. Not a good thing. So be careful not to use acronyms and jargon that stakeholders won't know. They're looking to see if you can talk with stakeholders. That's a very important part of the job of school administration, is being able to talk to community members, to parents, communicate with teachers, communicate with students. Communication is a big part. And so I have a PowerPoint I won't go through it, but how to do, so they'll ask you questions like this, you know, and they'll ask you what your leadership style is. Instead of saying I'm transformational servant leader, which you learned at 605, well, they don't know what that means. That's jargon to them. You describe it. Here are your bullets. And so spend some time with this one before your group interview. These are the kinds of questions that you'll be asked in a group interview setting, and be able to answer them without using jargon and without using acronyms. They'll ask you something like this. We often hear assessment drives instruction. How would you help new teachers begin to understand the data available in school and make sound instructional decisions? You say, well, we're going to do their data dive in PLCs. Well, they don't know what a data dive is. They don't know what PLCs are. And so you tell them we're going to do data analysis. We're going to develop teaching strategies based on the needs of students, and we're going to plan collaboratively. That is the definition of a PLC. But you can't just say, we'll do PLC work. They don't know what that means. And so make sure you spend time going through the group interview document. And I've got another one in here that says interview questions I've been asking in interviews. These are group interview questions as well, and they mirror that these mirror the slideshow. They're the same kinds of questions. This is questions I've been asking in interviews. This is a group interview. This is all of them. I compile these, but this and then the PowerPoint, you should review those before you go into your group interview. Remember, you're going to have stakeholders, not just school administrators. All right, the next interview type that you'll have will be with the principal of the school you're interviewing in. This is where you get to use your jargon. This is where you get to talk about all the things that you know and you've learned, and PLCs and MTSS and RTI and DIBBLES and I-class, M-class. Oh my goodness, you can roll it out there. You can be as impressive as you want to be, but here's the problem with that: you get too comfortable, and and then that landmine question comes. So let's look at that right quick. They'll ask you all these things. They'll get you comfortable. Tell us about your background, your work experience, why you want to be an administrator, you know, your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, all these different things. But then all of a sudden, your best leadership and, you know, all philosophy of discipline, all those kinds of things, and everything's going good and everything is really happening. And all of a sudden they hit you with the landmine question just right here. This about how many questions down is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About somewhere between the 5th and the 7th, 10th question. Let's say between 5, 6, and 10. They'll slip the landmine question in, and they'll just kind of go on hunt. But you won't realize, but you just knocked yourself out of a job. The landmine question that you will always get asked in a principal interview with the principal of the school that you're looking to be AP is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, here is the right answer. This is not debatable. There's only one right answer here. You don't well, I like that. There's only one right answer here. All right. So your strengths are always dispositional. I'm honest, I'm ethical, I'm hardworking, I'm dependable. Always your strengths are things that are part of you, that you bring to work with you every day. That you are a dependable person. Those are always your strengths. Don't talk about one specific thing, because they may not need. You say, well, I'm really good. You know, I'm really good with I'm really good with the AVID program. What if they don't have an AVID program? You know, then they know. Well, you didn't do any research about this school. You know, you're not done your homework. You're you know, that's a problem. So make sure that your strengths are always universal. That would work in any administrative. I'm honest, I'm dependable, I'm on time, you know, I'm trustworthy. Those kinds of things. I'm a good time manager. I communicate. Things that are generic to every school situation. Those are always your strengths, period. Don't get into specifics. Now, what are your weaknesses? Weaknesses are always things that are operational, that you can fix. You know, you say something like, you know, I understand Power School from the teacher portal, but I've not done a lot of work. My assistant principal or my principal let me see it during the internship. Let me see the Power School administrative module. I understand that it's a lot more in depth. You know, things that you can fix quickly. I'm going to go get, you know, I've been trained to do teacher evaluations. I'm going to go get certified in that immediately. You know, it's things that you can fix immediately, things that just are inexperience based. The only reason that there are weaknesses is you haven't been in the role yet. You haven't had the job, but that you understand, you know what you don't know, and I'm going to go fix that immediately. I'm going to get that certification to do teacher observations. I'm going to fix these things. These are my weaknesses, things that I can fix soon. Don't you dare say something like, well, I'm not a morning person. We can't fix that. Your dispositional behaviors are your strengths because they're universal to all schools. Your weaknesses are always things that are inexperience based that we can fix immediately. And you know that they're your weakness, but you're going to go and fix them. I'm going to do evaluations. I'm going to learn to process discipline. I'll be able to enter data into Power School. You know, I'm going to be up to speed on all these things immediately. I'll look at the school's EBOS data. You know, I can do all these things. I just need the opportunity. My weaknesses are just because I'm inexperienced. Now, I get people ask me all the time, how can I convince somebody to get inexperience is not a bad thing. You don't have bad experience. You can highlight that inexperience can be a strength. If you acknowledge it and say, I'm going to fix it. So really a weakness is when you don't know what you don't know and you don't know you got to fix it. So make sure that you understand that my strengths are dispositional. They are part of me. I'm a fully formed adult. I'm a grown person. You can depend on me. And my weaknesses are I haven't been an AP yet, but I'm going to fix them as soon as I get the opportunity. All right. Now, the last thing is the superintendent interview. And as I said, the superintendent's going to talk to you about things like 21st century skills, you know, future ready students. What does that look like? I've got a really good PDF on how to implement 21st century skills. I mean, we talk about them all the time. It's not just important to know what they are, but how would you go about implementing 21st century skills? One of the things that you're going to be asked a lot is COVID. You're going to be asked about hybrid and online, the big ticket stuff. Please remember, I'll stop my share. You're all expert. You've gone to school. You know how to use Zoom. You know how to record. You know how to upload to YouTube. You know how to share links. You know all that stuff already. You understand virtual schooling. You understand how it works. Many of you had to put together presentations. I mean, as soon as you get to 603, you have to start putting together presentations. You know this stuff. You are practiced and prepared better than anybody else. You should knock an interview with the superintendent out of the park on 21st century skills, using technology, how to integrate technology. You're planned and prepared. You understand the different platforms. You understand what a future ready student looks like. All those things, you've got this, you know. But now the superintendent is not going to talk to you about how to do a schedule. They're going to talk to you about the big picture ideas. They're trying to project you as a principal down the road. So make sure you understand that. All right, so let me go back here. So that concludes the 4 types of interviews. Now I'm going to talk to you specifically about interviewing in general. So let me take that one down. I've got a number of documents, but I want to make sure. 5 things to bring on your interview, no matter what kind of interview. Make sure you've got a current resume. It should be no longer than 2 pages with references. Make sure your references are current with current contact information for these people. Don't make them have to hunt your references. Make sure you've got a good phone number and a good email address for everybody that's on your reference sheet. Make sure it's got a cover letter specific to that school. Make sure your references. The cover letter, it can be 3 pages long. You can have a 1-page cover, but half page is enough. 2 pages of resume, half of it, the last half page should be references. Make sure you've got a strategic plan. That's basically a 2-page evidence summary of what you did during your time in the MELS program. I've got a copy of what one of those looks like. Again, it should look like this. Basically, this is a strategic plan. It's how to build a school improvement plan. You do understand that the 6 evidences of the MELS program lead you to be able to develop a strategic plan or a school improvement plan. So that's what that should look like. I've got one here. It should be no longer than 2 pages and summarize what you did. And then the last thing that you should have is your portfolio. And as a reminder, make sure people were working on today. A lot of folks were working on their competency folio today. You can share a link because we had you build your own. You're the owner. You can publish and share a link with prospective employers to your competency folio. They'll want to see the portfolio of work. Make sure that you have that. So make sure that folio looks as good as you can make it look, because that's for prospective employers. Yes, it's part of the program, but more importantly, we do it the way we do it so that you can share it with prospective employers. So these are the 5 things that you should always have when you walk into an interview. Your resume with a cover letter. Your resume has the references on it. You have your 2-page evidence summary. If they ask you about a strategic plan or how you build one, you can show them. And then a link to your portfolio. Those are the things that you should have when you walk into an interview. I don't care what kind it is. You may not ever be asked for them, but make sure that you have it. All right. Let's see. Okay. 5 questions you should never ask in an interview. We talked about things you should do. Full disclosure, there's some things that you shouldn't do in an interview. And here are the 5 areas that are completely off limits that you should not talk about in an interview situation. When will how long have I got to be an AP before I'll get promoted to principal? There's no way to know that. Focus on the job that you're applying for. Hold one second. What's the salary? Remember, salaries, once you get to the point where they've offered you the job, that's when you can talk to HR about the salary. Nobody that you interview with along the way can talk to you off the top of their head about your salary. When can I expect a raise? Again, they don't know that. What sort of flex time options do you have? Don't be asking for time off before you even get hired. And remember, flex time is illegal in North and South Carolina. They're right to work state. There is no flex time. Now, people don't argue. There is no flex time. Now, if somebody does that, it's illegal. And if you get caught, but don't be talking about that before you even start. And then and don't ask a question that shows you hadn't been listening. But other than that, that's pretty much it right there. Those 5 things not to ask. Now, here are my top 10 for 2 different things. One is for when you get your first job, and the other is top 10 for interviews. So here we go. My top 10 for interviews. This is any interview that you have, even if it's virtual. Dress for success. If you wear a wig, wear your good wig. Whatever you do. I had a fellow that came to an interview one time and he wore his work wig. He didn't wear his good wig, and it was kind of turned about 25 degrees to one side, and I couldn't hire him. I mean, you come into an interview, if you wear a wig, wear your good wig. Take your 2-page evidence summary along so that you make sure that they can see that you have a strategic plan. Research both the school administration, look at the state report card and teacher work condition survey, just like you do in the MELS program. Know the background of the administrative team. Know what's going on at that school. Know what you don't know. EVOS, Power School, Power Source, which is the evaluation system, RTI, MTSS, PBIS, finance. Be able to speak to instruction in the bottom line, which is student achievement. When I say know what you don't know that you haven't seen those from the administrative side, but that you know that they exist and that you're going to get up to speed on them immediately. That's what we talked about, the weakness part. But know what you don't know, because you'll be asked about those. And don't act like you're an expert when you haven't done it. Have a humorous anecdote about how you were able to turn a negative into a positive. Everything I get references wants to know, can people turn a negative into a positive? So have a humorous anecdote about how you did that. Be prepared to discuss hours and responsibilities honestly. If you know that you've got to take care of kids morning or afternoon or whatever, then and you know, I was principal at Early Start High School. People come in and say, well, I can't drop my kids off till 7 o'clock. First bell rings at 6:55 here. Tardy bell rings at 7. If you can't drop your kid, you can't work here. And so know what those kinds of things are. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Again, your strengths are always dispositional. Your weaknesses are inexperience. Don't discuss salary, experience steps, national. Don't discuss any of that stuff during the interview process. That's at the end. Don't engage in gossip or negative talk. Principals go to meetings every month. They know one another. And then last, my pet peeve, don't interview for a job that you know you're not going to take just to get experience in interviewing. That's not the principal or the staff's role. Is not to get you experience interviewing. Their job is to find people. They're busy people. It's hiring is long and involved. Don't waste their time. If you know, remember, the building won't get any closer to your house just because you got a job there, or the traffic won't get any better. If you know that you wouldn't work there because of the kind of school it is or where it's located, don't bother them people. Do not do that. That word will get out, and that, don't, and especially don't go in and say, well, I would never work here. I just want to find out what the interview questions were when I go to interview at the job that I want. Oh, you won't get that interview because that principal will put a hold on you. So make sure, don't waste people's time. If you know it's not the kind of school you want to work at, it's too far from your house, the traffic's too bad, it's a late start, and then you got to pick your kids up at 4, and the school doesn't let out till 4:30, or conversely, you can't drop your kids off to 7, it's early start. Don't go bother them people. Don't be wasting their time. And then the last group of things that I have before we go to this group, these are my top 10 things that you should do by the first faculty meeting. At the first faculty meeting, know everybody's name, and barring that, move around the room and have them introduce yourself. Proximity and eye contact are important. Make sure you understand you now work with adults, not students, and you need to establish that relationship from the very first minute that at that very first faculty meeting, that you understand that you work with them now, not with students. Get an early win, present something positive to the staff. I don't mean if it's just something simple. Get an early win. You don't want to tackle the biggest problem that school's had for the last 10 years. You want to get an early win, like, you get a desk out of the hallway, or you get a teacher a new chalkboard, or just something quick, and present something positive to the staff at that first meeting. You want to be seen as a person who can get things done. Give the staff a quick overview of who you are and your professional experience. Quick. It's what we call a 1-minute elevator speech. Quick, let them know who you are. Don't belabor them with, in kindergarten, I went to this school. In first grade, I had no. Quick and dirty, 1 minute. Volunteer for something nobody else wants to do. Do as I do, lend a hand, be a servant leader. Present the open school plan if the principal will let you, and be conversant. Know what's going on in your building. Look like you belong there. Look like you've been there before. Smile and laugh at the appropriate times. You'd be amazed how important that is, and how bad it is if you don't smile and laugh, or if you laugh at inappropriate times. Pay attention. What that means is pay attention. Don't be in your own world. Don't be so inside your own head. Pay attention to what's going on in the meeting. Ask questions and take notes so you can follow up. Always have your pad. Carry one small enough to fit in your pocket if you can. You'll forget. You sleep, you forget. So make sure that you do that. Recognize somebody for something positive that you've seen. Be specific. I like Miss Jones's blackboard. I'm glad I saw this. I saw that. Be very specific about something that you saw in the building that week while you were getting ready for that first faculty meeting. And then my last two are my kind of dual pet peeves. Don't complain or seem worried about being ready for the opening of school. The kids will show up whether you're ready or not. And if you panic, then teachers will panic. You got to be like a duck, calm on the surface and paddling, like crazy underneath the surface. And then the last one is, and this is the one that may be the most important, don't mention how busy you are or how hard you're working. That's the expectation for school administration. Don't, you applied and took the job. You understand that you're going to be busy. You're going to work hard. That's the expectation. Don't ever mention that. Let people find that out through your actions. Don't tell them. That does not come off well because everybody's working hard. All right. So if you understand these, spend some time with that zip file that I sent you and work your way through all these. You should be intimately prepared for any situation that you're walking into, interviewing wise. So to conclude my part tonight and give Dr. Stedman a few minutes here, thank you for choosing the MEL program. I hope you all have a good holiday. I hope to see those of you who are graduating. I hope to see you next month on December 10th. The general session is 9 o'clock. For the college, you've got to be there about, 8 or 8:30 to line up. And then the College of Ed, I would highly recommend you come to the College of Ed. It's also in the basketball arena called LYCC. And we'll do it at 1. And all of the MELS program who are getting a master's, the certificate people will be recognized. You'll have your name called. You go across the stage. Master's people will get hooded and do the same. So we'd love to see you all there. So Dr. Stedman, I'm going to mute myself and let you continue right on.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lamb. A lot of valuable information. And I'm sure that if you will heed to the things that Dr. Lamb has shared with you, it will make a difference. It's great to see those of you that we started out with in 601. Very, very proud of your accomplishments. You're welcome to stay with us. We've got to talk with our class about some things in closing up by next week. So if you want to go ahead and sign off, then feel free to do that. But Revis and I needed to talk with our group for just a few minutes. Just a reminder, first of all, congratulations on all of you having completed the PSYOP and very successfully with that. Very proud of you and very proud of that accomplishment. Just a reminder that you've got 2 assignments left. One of them is it's assignment 10, which is a part of tonight's presentation. You're to do a 1-page reflection, the takeaways. What did Dr. Lamb share with you that you feel will positively enhance your opportunities when you interview? So I just want you to reflect on that and make it personal as we have every other assignment. They make it apply to you personally. Go ahead and get that done and get it to me as soon as possible in Blackboard. And then assignment 11, which is due next week, this is where you're going to be working with your with somebody, your team member or members, and your presentations will be next week beginning at 6 o'clock. And I'm going to ask Dr. Revis if she would just to speak to that. She may have some, she will be facilitating this assignment, and I will be paying close attention, taking notes, and I will be assessing you, during the presentation along with Dr. Revis. Dr. Revis?
Okay, so just very quickly, during the presentations, we want to make sure that it is obvious that you and your teammates have unpacked the digital competency, just like we unpack our curriculum standards as a teacher. You've unpacked the document and you've pulled out those important or salient points. Then it's important that you make sure in your presentation it's obvious about what data sets you have selected to analyze according to the competency. And you share that information with the group in your presentation. We want to make sure that it is obvious that you've researched some best practices around your competency and that you're making recommendations for improvement. Also, during the presentation, we would like for everybody in your team, on your team, to make sure that they have equal opportunity to present and share information from your group. So that's what we're looking for on your digital competency assignment 11.
Okay, Dr. Revis, you want to go ahead and just talk to them about any remaining things dealing with task string concerning their competency folio and their internship logs.
Okay, so make sure that once I have reviewed your competency folio and told you you're ready to go, that you do that migration or merging over to your DRF folio. And I think most everybody's done that, but you've got to merge it to DRF and then submit it for evaluation there too. Just don't let it sit there. I think I only have one person who's not done that, as well as your logs. All 3 of your logs are uploaded into your DRF folio once I give you the go-ahead. And then they have to be evaluated there as well. Don't forget, you've got to do your School of Ed dispositions and your competency analysis. Both of those are self-assessments. I think most of you have done that as well. Don't forget your completer survey, and we want you to be honest. You've heard Dr. Lamb talk about, he uses that for program improvement, and we really do look at that. And I guess that's it, Dr. Stedman, those things. Most of you have completed that. If you have not, then I'm going to be sending you an email later on this evening. If you're missing any of those things, I can see everything from your first semester forward. And so if I see you missing anything, I think I saw one person had missed a School of Ed disposition back in 603. I will send you an email on that one. But
Okay.
We're in pretty good shape, Dr. Stedman.
I think so too. Dr. Lamb, can you stop sharing so we can see everybody? He may have stepped away.
No, I'm
Okay,
here. Let me stop my share.
Okay, good. And just a reminder too that make sure that at the very end, there was a reason why you were asked to provide the information that we submitted to Dr. Stone. It'll be a very special moment at the end after we've done our you've done your presentation. So hang in there, and you may want to ask your family, at the very end to be around so that they can join you as we bring closure to 605 and to the program as well. Dr. Lamb, it has just been a pleasure working with this group this semester. Dr. Revis and I have really had a wonderful time with them. And the good thing about it, we had many of these students, we knew them from 601, and just to see the growth, I am so proud of the growth that I have seen from then until now. It's just amazing. So,
That's great. And I would echo, thank you again, Dr. Revis and Dr. Stedman. I would echo, you want to be around for Dr. Stone's presentation. I got a preview of it yesterday. It's great. And again, we appreciate you, and it's a way to celebrate you and with your families. And again, please come on December 10th. We would love to see you. It means a lot to us for you to come, and it's a great time. You'll get hooded. You'll get to go your process. You'll get to have your name called. It'll be wonderful. It'll be a good time.
Okay. Do any of you have any questions of Dr. Revis and me or Dr. Lamb before we sign off? Any questions at all? Everybody good about what you need to do for graduation or anything like that? Any questions while we've got Dr. Lamb? Okay.
Rebecca's got one.
I just have questions about the graduation. I'm not familiar with campus, and so I was planning to come up on the 9th just to check things out. And the only email I've gotten said that we're to line up starting at 7:30 at the Dover Theater. Is there any other specifics I need to know?
7:30. Wow. No. So when you get to the campus, when you get to Bowling Springs, there's one stoplight. I'm not making this up. There's one stoplight.
Yeah, I'm staying in Shelby.
And so when you get over to Bowling Springs, we've got one. It's right there at the front corner of campus. So regardless of which way that you come in, when you get to that stoplight, you want to head south on 150 by the front of the college there. You want to go south. Just look at your compass in your car. You want to go south. Now, if you're coming from off of 74, you'll just go straight through the light. If you're coming from Shelby on 150, you'll make a left at the light. So you'll either go straight but you're going to head south right by the front of the college. When you get down, pay attention because you'll see the buildings. They tore the Hardys down. That was actually on campus. And when you get right past where the old Hardys was, there's a big arch, big brick arch. Turn right there. And that will take you down into the complex and you will see the big basketball arena. And so when you go into LYCC, Luke Shelton Convocation Center, Dover Theater is on the right of the breezeway and the basketball arena is on the left. I didn't know if they were going to have us do now. Last December, we went to Boss Gym, but I guess we're going to be in Dover this time, but there's a huge parking lot, huge. It serves the theater, the basketball arena, and the student center. They're all right there along that way, but you got to go down to the big brick arch, turn in there, get there. I didn't know you had to be there at 7:30. But now again, you just have to walk across the breezeway. It's indoors, but
Okay.
you'll get there. They'll get you name cards. They'll make sure everything is good, and then we'll process, and you'll come into the gym and you'll proceed in. Now, only the doctorals get called at the 9 o'clock ceremony to go across the stage and get their hoods. When that's over with, we'll have places for you to go, and you can go get lunch or do whatever. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to be back in the exact same place at 1 o'clock. You'll proceed again and process in again at 1 o'clock. This time, everybody less than doctoral gets to cross the stage.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, we're going to be in that same place. I'm guessing we'll kind of meet back in Dover Theater and line back up again for the 1 o'clock, but we won't. We'll be there probably about 12:30 for that.
And Rebecca, anybody that's traveling and you're coming into Shelby on 74, like you're going west towards Asheville, you just keep going until you'll see the Shelby High School on the left, and you'll see McDonald's. You turn left there, and that takes you all the way in to Bowling Springs. You just stay on that road till you get to Bowling Springs.
And if you miss that turn, you can just keep on going, and they put a new exit in.
Okay.
Lattimore, Bowling Springs, where they're building the new bypass, and you make a left there. You go around the loop off the 4-lane and head south toward Bowling Springs. Takes you straight into the light that way. So
Okay.
Either way, there's only one. You just make one turn and you're there.
Right.
It's real simple. There is no. If you can make a left turn, you're golden. That's all you gotta do.
I was gonna say, if you get into the county, let me know. I live 2 miles from Gardner Webb, and I know Matt lives right down the road, and so does Philip. So any of us can kind of help you. Any of y'all come in, kind of find the area. So
they can help you if you get lost, but you really
and
not.
Since y'all are a family, y'all may want to coordinate and just say meet Matt, you and Erica and Philip, just coordinate with your group and just say, if you're coming, meet us at a certain place, and you can kind of guide them.
I think
Well,
Philip was taking us out for breakfast that morning, right, Philip?
I was going to tell you is I am unfortunately not going to be at graduation because I get married on the 3rd.
Oh no.
Well,
I'll be-
congratulations.
Jamaica on the
Okay,
10th.
well then I don't blame you.
You're getting married.
I am getting married. I'm taking the vows.
You looks like you're old enough to know better. Is there anything I can do to talk you out of it? No, marriage is the one. My wife of 37 years is right there. I've been married 37 to the same one. And so she just.
And she's going.
Marriage is a wonderful institution if you feel the need to be institutionalized.
And Tina's gonna beat you up after this over with, Dr.
I
Lamb.
know. She's not even gonna wait till it's over with. But congratulations, Philip. I hope you, congratulations. I hope things go well for you. So.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, but you still got, you've got Matt and you've got Erica that can guide you. So,
But
just
just
reach out to
just
them.
plan to come and stay all day. We're gonna have a big time. It'll be a lot of fun to see everybody. All right. Hopefully
And-
we'll have good weather. All right, folks. I see we've gone.
And Jimmy, Tracy, and Regina, thank y'all for hanging in here with us.
Dr. Stedman, we still
Yeah.
have to submit the final reflection to Dr. Lamb too as well, right?
Right.
I need that. If you can get that to me, that'd be great.
And those of you that Dr. Lamb has shared a lot with us, thank you so much for your, but thank you for the kind words. That it means so much. And, you know, I don't care how much we've been doing this, you know, the kind words mean a lot and it encourages us as well. So thank you so much.
Yep, it certainly does. We like to hear the good and the bad. We thank you for that. All right, we're gonna end up. I'll post the video later tonight. Everybody have a good holiday, and I'll see you December.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.